Hey, how we doing, guys?
Morning, everybody.
Joe here.
Kevin.
It is binge week, guys.
Yeah.
We're flying through the Americans.
Yep, we're going to do 4 Americans this week for the good people of Patreon. They pay to be able to watch stuff, so we like to get ahead a little bit. It's like a thank you to our Patreon subscribers who want to do so. So they will always be a month ahead, really, pretty much, of where the YouTube videos are going to be. But I think that you're paying for the service. It's a fair trade.
Yeah, and it's not just the Americans. We're 4 ahead on West Wing, Mad Men, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend,
and Schitt's Creek.
And
we're going to get the others, too.
We added a couple new shows, so we're kind of catching up.
That's why we haven't done this for a while, is we were looking for shows to replace some that ended, like Succession and Fleabag and Ted Lasso. Yeah. So we've been kind of trying to feel out what works and what doesn't, and we think we've landed on a series of good shows, and we get ahead on, like, okay, we're going to watch the entire run of this show, and The Americans is definitely in that group.
Fantastic.
Yeah, very tense but very bingeable, and I think that's tough to pull off. You know,
I've always kind of heard of it. I've known what it is, but not really.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of surprised it took me this long to actually watch it.
Yeah, spy show, and I knew the 2 leads. That's the only thing I knew about it. I didn't know I don't think I knew what the period was going on. I knew it was a period piece.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize it was early '80s.
I think I knew it had something to do with like sleeper agents, but I had no idea. Regardless.
Yeah, exactly. Regardless, it's a lot of fun to be so far past. Like I'm sure I saw trailers for it, on FX, which is how I'm aware of it at all. But I never really paid much attention to them, and it's been long enough that there's no spoilers in my head, from obviously what television shows like to do with their trailers to kind of ruin seasons for you.
You see, I always thought it was way longer. Like I thought it started like in 2010, 2011.
Yeah, I think it's pretty new.
It's like 2017.
Yeah, it's fairly recent. Yeah, and I think they did like 4 seasons and one a year, and then called it.
That's like the perfect structure for a show. I feel like
for sure.
4 to 5 seasons.
It's the Breaking Bad formula, right? Do a good show, run it as long as it needs to go, and then you're done.
Like, how many shows do you know have 8 seasons and that are like good?
I know a lot of shows with 8 seasons, and the last couple aren't
sitcoms. You know what I mean? But Game of Thrones famously really fell off. This is not the case for this at all.
Yeah, people have said that that they go solid right through.
Yeah.
All right, can't wait.
We're going to get going on this, guys. If you're watching this on YouTube for the first time, welcome to our channel. If you don't mind, hit the like button for us. Leave us a comment down below, and please hit the subscribe button so you can stay up to date with the new content we have coming your way.
Yeah, absolutely. If you would like to see a full-through reaction of this, as long as everything else we've watched or are watching, please check out a link in the description below to our Patreon page. Once again, by the time you are seeing this on YouTube, we should be, we did a 4-episode week prior, and we're doing it right now, so we should be ahead over there if you want to get caught up to where we are kind of in real time as we watch through it.
Yeah, come get caught up with us.
All right, for those of you watching with us on Patreon, welcome back, guys. So we're going to go ahead and start episode 4 here in 3, 2, 1, go.
Where's Poland? It's part of Russia. Oh.
Is that what Mr. Henriksen is teaching you?
Yeah.
Same neighborhood.
Same neighborhood.
Right.
Oh, gentlemen. Customs just...
Well, I'm with you. I love that we get the governmental sides of it, too. It's
so much fun.
Yeah.
Their paperwork. Do you know what they do with drug dealers in Romania? Why don't you guys take a run at him? See if he wants to keep his...
Mental note, don't sell drugs in Romania.
Right. Just cross it off the
right.
list.
It was so high on the list.
Yeah.
They're just trying to be a couple.
Yeah.
And it's awkward for them. Like, we actually love each other, so let's try to do this all for real.
They've been together for almost 20 years, and they're just,
a lot of irony here, isn't it? They've been together for 20 years, and they still haven't figured out. They still haven't figured out how to be a couple.
Yeah.
Still waiting on him, sir.
Get in the vault. The president's been shot.
Let's go.
Oh, okay. John Hinckley. Yeah, we're at that point.
I'm making us take the afternoon off.
Oh, so they don't have any idea that the world's kind of blowing up. The days before cell phones.
No, right.
You could actually have a life away from...
It's kind of like the Mad Men episode when JFK got shot and Duck
shut off the TV. Yeah.
I need to know if he has any Soviet connection whatsoever. This guy
maybe it's just
once in the past 10 years. We're going to find out when and where.
Yes, sir.
Maybe it's revisionist history, looking back with 2020 vision, but it seems silly to think that this was actually a government attempt at assassination by a spy.
At first, though, with the tensions
maybe in
there,
the first minutes, but
I can see that's why they thought that.
I think it'd be pretty quick to be like, wait, this is a bad effort to do this.
The Soviets been watching Taxi Driver.
Yeah, exactly.
The president's been shot.
Oh my God, is he okay?
Nobody knows. News says he's in
Oh, see, you're right. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's the uncertainty of the moment. Yeah, James Brady with the Brady Bill. Yeah, he was hurt bad.
I think he got shot in the head.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Process of putting together a bio and profile.
Is he a KGB operative? The 8th floor will soon let us.
They're like, no, he's very strange.
No.
Team, please look for connections to the Soviet Union and the Communist Party.
This is a great way to see what the paranoia level was, though,
Yeah, right.
right? Just an idiot decides to take a shot at the president, and he somehow gets close, and it's all conspiracy. Yeah.
But if the president has been shot by a KGB operative, I want to know before nuclear missiles start whistling over my head. You get to your girl, you get to her now.
I feel, but at the same time, I feel like there's no way that shooting a president means you can get away with a nuclear attack.
I know, right? He's not the only person.
Yeah, exactly. But there are protocols for these kind of things.
Yeah.
Your commitment to the struggle always was total.
White House Press Secretary James.
Even on the Soviet side, they'd be there are ramifications for this if it ratchets up too much.
No. Oh, so James Brady is dead. I thought he lived.
No, I don't think he died.
They just said he died.
Did they?
Congressional sources, James Brady has not survived his wounds.
I was pretty sure he lived.
Am
I an idiot? I thought he would champion the Brady Bill. Yeah. Sorry, guys, for those of you watching,
Maybe it's one of those things.
This is definitely before our time. Yeah.
Maybe it's one of those things where you flatlined. I don't know. Or maybe they're doing like a revisionist thing. We'll look it up after it.
Right. Or they just might have gotten it wrong in the moment too. Yeah.
We both know it. I can say it.
We'll get as much information as we can. Start preparations for Christopher immediately.
I love historical fiction where it's a real event that they wrap a narrative around like this. Yeah.
So cool. That's why we love Mad Men.
Oh, for sure. They definitely picked
the Oldsmobile is always a nice
town.
touch.
Oh, for sure.
It's always a thing in these cop shows from the 80s
and
70s.
Jim Brady dying are absolutely
So there we go.
There it is. Okay. Yeah, I was like, wait, did I get that completely wrong?
There's a deadline with our schedule.
Long before this poor girl's dead.
In terms of Genslingers,
yeah, exactly.
I'd give it 4 more episodes.
Yeah.
Maybe like a finale kind of thing.
Sure.
But I think she's a series regular.
Oh, I don't see her making it to the second season. I don't know how long the season is. Probably around 10 episodes, but
13.
15, really?
13.
Wow. This their guerrilla warfare kit. They're supposed to start blowing up bridges and taking out police stations and stuff.
Could you imagine?
That's what it sounded like. That's what the operation was.
Get ready.
Yeah. You guys are going to start taking out train tracks and disrupting the flow of services.
They use a lot of cool locations for how they hide their stuff, and it's always just the woods. So on a production side of things, it's probably really cheap to do, but it's still so cool.
Oh yeah, definitely guerrilla warfare in the States. Yeah.
Stuff, yeah.
Wow.
And Red Dawn.
I mean, it really is. It's all about destabilization. Yeah. Explosives. Yeah.
Holy cow.
I have no idea how long the time takes for the world to realize, okay, this is what really happened. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's not going to be a day, right?
Right. I'm sure it took a couple days. Yeah.
This is like a big 80s show, so it deals with pop culture. I wonder when Red Dawn comes out if they address it on the show.
I would love that.
That'd be really funny.
We're gonna need a government car.
I'll signal Gregory.
You dare say that name to me.
Yeah.
It's not going to change just because they showed it over and over and over.
Nobody's going to keep people watching. This is the point.
I mean, any one of those guys that got shot could die.
Yeah.
Isn't that pretty ghoulish?
I feel like, God forbid, if something happened like this today, they would not show it on TV like they used to back in the day. They would continue to show it like that.
When you think of the last 2 presidents, Obama and then even Trump, the number of people who were boastfully making threats at them, I don't think it's easy to do. I think it's harder to get near one president anymore.
In the surveillance age.
Right, yeah. It's like I with the technology and everything, I think it'd be hard to get within a half a mile of the president with a gun anymore. You know?
Oh, for sure.
And I take comfort in that.
Me too. Yeah, honestly.
Как вернетесь, сразу доложите мне и только мне. Важно заранее предупредить Москву.
Обязательно.
It's such a fascinating one. You never even consider the fact the race for information on both sides on something
That's
like
all
this.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Keep an eye out. She's got a tail.
Yeah. Stan's good.
Stan is not.
Stan is so good.
Stan is so good. Oh, good. They had that set up. She knew to keep walking too.
Line of succession runs through the vice president and speaker of the House.
Well, not according to Al. I'm in control here, Haig.
I was just thinking the same thing. It's like, why is Haig saying I'm running everything? Yeah.
The president's been shot, and your boss is out of control.
He's my boss isn't sitting on.
I wonder if this is what the West Wing was dealing with in this, when it's like, who's in charge right now?
Yeah.
Travel agenting is a world filled with peril.
Because they have a trunk full of explosives and guns. Yeah.
He's coming back.
I got this.
Yeah, I'd say vans parked outside of important houses.
Yeah, right. With people in them. Yeah.
I'm sorry for the inconvenience, ma'am. I'm going to need identification from both of you.
Sure. Yes. Of course.
They should have identification. Yeah.
I'm going to need to call this in. The McLean police are going to want to swing by, just ask you a few routine.
This poor guy's about to die, isn't he?
Won't take more than 15 minutes, I promise.
Yeah. Dang. And there it goes. Did you get your ID back? This poor guy died over something so stupid. A war that's not happening.
Well, this is the first time we've seen him take out an innocent, you know?
Yeah.
So headlights out, really?
On your murder van?
Yeah.
I don't know how realistic any of this is, and I don't care. It's good television.
Yeah.
What if you were followed?
I wasn't.
How do you know? How can you be sure?
Because I'm the one who does the following.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
He's one of your top generals, and he's announced he's taking control. What?
He's not terribly wrong.
Okay, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
One mistake. That's all it takes.
She is a bright person.
She is. It's kind of like a strange love element, isn't it?
Yeah. It's really interesting because you see here is like, oh, this poor secretary or whatever is, sitting selling radios back home. And you think she's going to be like this idiot pawn. It's like, this girl is actually quite capable. Yeah. She's a player.
Trying to make a better life.
Yeah. Well, and she's a genius too.
Yeah.
She big picture.
They could have 10 nuclear footballs. This still wouldn't be a coup.
Really?
Yes, really. And if we send that to Moscow, they will go on high alert. On our command, we will escalate. They will escalate. This thing.
He's right. He's completely right.
You think you understand things so much better than I do. Why? Because you look good in an American suit?
What?
Because everybody loves talking.
You guys want to blow everybody up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like...
We're going to do it my way.
This is great.
Fantastic writing.
Yeah. It's like these two have way too much power to influence the balance.
They really do. It's kind of down to
yeah.
them, yeah. We talked about that. We talked about how we want to see like them save the world.
Right, yeah.
They kind of do.
When were 37 million people killed?
You don't have to worry about that.
It's history, which repeats itself, so he does have to worry about it.
Thanks, Paige.
Yeah.
Paige is smart.
Yeah.
I got to peek at the file of the guy who shot the president, Hinckley, and he is totally nuts. 100%.
There you go.
Yeah, he actually thought he was going to impress this movie star, Jodie Foster.
Yeah. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
President?
Like I said, he's 100% nuts. I mean, certifiably loony.
He keeps coming up for parole every once in a while, and they keep denying it.
He's out.
Oh, is he really?
He's making music on YouTube.
I hate this.
Turns out that they weren't. Which is a good thing because, that, that could have started World War III.
Yeah. It could have. This is the part where he gets to choke his wife and say, I told you so, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. The Russians. Who is to blame for this?
Right.
They send back Jodie Foster.
Really, yeah.
I'm
sorry, you were right. You were right. You say it.
I just, I'm glad we did it your way this time.
Yeah. There it is.
The center was lucky to have you on the ground today.
Okay, that was a nice touch to add there. Yeah. I like that.
In many ways, this feels like the beginning of a relationship, right?
Yeah, like the first 20 years didn't really matter relationship-wise.
This episode really...
It did, yeah.
I mean, I know they're only like 45 minutes, but still, that was quick.
Well, the tension really helps it move. It's really well written, and to get the tension to perfect levels and sustain it, and then let it go when it needs to. Like I just think it's just masterfully done.
It's also like, I mean this in a good way. Each episode has been a lot of back and forth. You know, what I mean? A lot of them going to different locations and just like double checking, triple checking things. And I don't know anything about being a spy.
I don't either.
I would imagine that's the case, right?
Like I said, I don't know if that's real. I don't know if it's not, but it makes for great television either way. So I don't care. Yeah.
You know? No, but there's a lot of like Mad Men, like Breaking Bad, like The Sopranos. The at-home stuff is really compelling too.
It is, yeah.
Them not being spies, like that conversation with Stan and his wife in the kitchen. That's really emotional and really, really, really. There's a very rich well there to pull from.
Absolutely, and it's nice to round out the characters. So we're not just watching a bunch of cliches. You know, how many cop shows or lawyer shows or medical shows exist because you're just following around a bunch of cliched characters that you've seen a million times.
But the good ones, they have that at-home
they add that depth, right?
Like I made the Donnie Brasco comparison. It's like Stan doesn't want to talk to his wife because he has to deal with all these horrible things in the world. You know. I think when he was in St. Louis, he was like...
He was undercover.
He was in a Klan.
Right,
You know, and then now he has to deal with, potentially World War III.
Right.
That's not really table talk, you know?
And there's probably a little bit of PTSD there from his undercover work as well.
I would imagine he's probably a military guy as well.
Right. Yeah. There's stuff. Stan's got a lot of baggage.
Violent past.
Right, yeah. It's one of those things where it's like you have a job that's potentially awful, right? You see and experience awful things, and then you have to try to come home and be a balanced family person.
How do you
on top of that? Men and women do it, right? Yeah. And it's a struggle if you're on your own like this, and this is a time period where you're probably mostly on your own. I mean, I feel like hopefully now in those situations it's like, hey man, go see the department therapist afterwards, and we'll see how you're doing
if they had one.
Right. I'm saying that this time they probably did.
Probably not.
Now they probably do. But during the 80s, I doubt there was any of that.
And even like the whole, the big elephant in the room this episode was the nuclear war aspect.
Right.
It's so interesting living in a world now post Oppenheimer where like everybody has been made so much more aware of the seriousness of nuclear bombs.
Yeah.
Because I think even as a kid, you're like you kind of are aware of it.
Right.
Like in school they used to. Tell
it's an abstraction, though. Yeah, for sure.
Like, I remember I was like in 6th grade, might have been 5th grade. My history teacher was like, "Yeah, when I was your guys' age, we would do like hide under your desk."
Yeah, the duck and cover drills. Yeah.
And now that we know the severity of it, I mean, once you get older, you kind of learn about it for yourself. But now that like it's in the mainstream, it is kind of chilling to think that it could be one big mistake.
Yeah. I mean, really, yeah. I think it just one day you wake up, and that's what people were, during the Cold War living with. Is one day I could walk outside and pick up the newspaper, and a missile drops on my head that wipes out the whole city that I'm in.
Yeah,
and that's it. Your family, everyone just gone in his finger snap.
It makes you detest the creation of it. This contingency.
Well, certainly the mindset of owning them afterwards is pretty awful. It's like
we should have just disassembled them.
Right? It's like what kind of government wants this kind of power?
Was it UN or I can't remember who it was, but they you can't use flamethrowers in war anymore.
Yeah, I mean there's the Geneva Convention stuff
that's what it was.
Where there's certain international laws for how soldiers can conduct themselves in war, war crimes tribunals and stuff like that, which are violated all the time, constantly. And I'm sure it's tough to prove, but I mean, every once in a while it happens. There were Nuremberg trials after World War II.
Yeah,
it can happen.
I feel like that should be a situation with nukes, but it's never going to happen because that is the power that these governments hold around the world.
For sure.
And it's It is terrifying. It'll keep you up at night. It really will if you really think about it too hard.
Yeah, it's both. The idea now is like the Russians really aren't enemies of the United States anymore per se. Putin really sucks, but he's an old KGB guy. He'll die hopefully soon. But sorry, Putin. Sorry, Putin fans.
Yeah,
I'm not a
Putin fans. All you Putin fans out there.
Fans out there. But you worry more about like rogue states. We worry more about some of the Middle Eastern countries or North Korea and stuff like that getting nuclear bombs than we worry about Russia anymore. And even then, it's like, no, they have a ways to go. So well,
it's an issue that is way above our pay grade. But as American people, I think we have to educate ourselves about this, and it's fun to watch it in a television show.
Well, yeah, and plus, you can't also ignore the fact that, let's face it, it's kind of icky that we live in the country that has most of the nuclear bombs.
Yeah,
which kind of makes us the doomsday country a little bit. And that's a reality we have to live with too, and the world has to live with. Is Donald Trump, remember, famously wanted to nuke hurricanes to stop hurricanes from happening.
I totally forgot about that.
Because he's a genius and didn't realize that all you're going to have is a hurricane dropping nuclear fallout all over the place.
He said that in 2019, and it's like, how are you thinking that way in 2019, man?
Because it's Donald Trump.
But hey, before we go, guys, if you guys are interested in this kind of topic, I mentioned Oppenheimer. Check out Doctor Strangelove if you haven't seen it. And
Love Doctor Strangelove, yeah.
Failsafe came out the same year, based on one of the same books that Strangelove was based on. It's a very interesting movie. So,
good point. All right, we'll catch you in the next one, guys.
We'll see you.
If I can find a way to stop.